Zero, I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac, represent. On my block, try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot, I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac, where the blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that, kick back. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta shit. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin getting to pop back up to the value area high of our choppy range that we've been sitting in. What is coming next, guys? Are we about to squeeze the shorts in a big way? Are we looking for a gigantic drop back down to 60K? I'm going to talk about it all in today's live stream. We got some mixed money flow here on the chart, guys, but I'm going to cover the biggest key levels that you need to be watching if you're looking for another bounce. If we come back down, where are we looking to put in the high or low? And I'm going to give you guys my overall thoughts on where I think price action is going next. Shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in. We got Rudy with a Y in the chat. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. Shout out to Bob says, where do we get that big short from? Shout out to Bob. We'll talk about the next key levels, guys. We are potentially looking to approach our big level that we've been waiting for to the upside if we could get out of this dang value area. But we got JR MO in the chat. What is going on? Said Scamwick up to 73K incoming. Not too far off of that next key level that we're looking at. We got Neon Visual. We got Getchy in the chat. Linden 257. What is going on? He says March can bring BTC down to 27 to 32K zone. Well, we'll talk about that. I'll try to cover some of the higher time frames, some of the more bearish situations where we could be looking down towards 30K. We got Darren Does Things in the chat. What is going on, Darren? I think we got Tony D in here as well. Let's see. We got Bailey in the chat. Said, hold me, Frankie. Shout out to Bailey. Welcome in. We going back down. Shout out to Levran. Hold my candle. Oh, shout out to Mr. Judd. Unfortunately, got to hold your own candle. I'm not gonna touch your candles, guys. Come on. But yeah, shout out to Rudy. Said we're gonna get that bull div. But yeah, we got a lot to look at here, guys. As we kind of are just still sitting in this sideways range. I hope we don't have to hang out in this sideways range for too much longer, guys. it's getting kind of boring. Your boy Frankie Candles is kind of sick of this, 70,000 to 65K range. So without further ado, there's Jesse. Welcome in, Jesse. Long time no see. He was in the premium Discord, the premium live stream, and Tony D tuning in as well. Mr. B, what is going on? He said, hey, Frankie. What's up, bro? Welcome in. But without further ado, guys, we got some stuff here to look at. Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we going up, then down, down, then up? Who knows? Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Shout out to Saba, said your premium TA is goated. Shout out to Saba. Well, hey, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. He's in the premium live stream. I think he was in the live stream a few minutes ago. We were just live with the premium Discord for I think 2 hours. I'm trying to keep my live streams to an hour, guys. It's literally impossible. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So obviously, guys, still stuck within this volume profile. Now, if you tuned in to last week's Friday's live stream, you will know we were looking at the 786 and the daily MPOC. We were kind of, just to give you guys an idea, on Friday, we were kind of bing-bonging around this value area low. Did take the short up here at about, I think my entry was around 69.7 or 69.6. Took that short position, brought it back down to the POC, lost the POC, came down to the value area low, took profits on that short twice with my stop loss to break even. And then as we came down here, we got one more last drop to the downside. You guys will know that we were looking at these Fibonacci retracement levels. Excuse me. Man, I got to stop running straight from the premium into this live stream. By the way, guys, I do have somewhere to be at around 6, so I'm going to try to run this for an hour. We're going to see what happens. But we got some quick things I do want to go over. We had the fib from the low to the high, had that golden pocket. We came into the golden pocket, and then kind of the last and only level we had underneath us, and when I say only level, I mean literally the only level. We had the daily 786 and then the also daily MPOC sitting right underneath us. I'll hide this one for now. This was the last level of support that we had to the downside until, right, if we ended up losing this, very similar to the fib that we looked at last week, right, from the low to the high, 786, got tapped. We got the big push to the upside, missed the long, but caught the short. But we had that 786. It was kind of the last level that we had underneath us until we had to start looking down towards that value area low at 60K. We ended up holding on to that 786, getting the push to the upside, caught the short back down. I am now obviously stopped out on that trade in profit. Still making money, guys. You can make money whether your trade plays out in full or not. Technically, this did play out in full to the value area low of the local range, but we were unable to make it to the value area low of our larger range. But just like this 786, we had nothing really underneath us. If we lost this level, it was a super high probability we'd get a move down to the value area low. We held it, got the push back to the upside, and very similarly, we had the golden pocket 786 sitting here. This was the last level of support we had, and just like we had no support down here, we still had no support down here. So this was kind of the last level that we would be able to hold. If we lost this, obviously quick move down to the value area low would be very likely. But we were able to hold on top of this and get the bounce back into our volume profile locally here. And more importantly, right, back above the POC of the range, right? Because when we look at this as a volume profile, deviate above the highs, back to the POC. We played around, couldn't get out, back below the POC, retest, couldn't get out. Now we're back above the POC, which is interesting to me because, of course, living below this point of control keeps that value area low target open. And right now we're above it, but when we pull up our local volume profile here, you can see as soon as we get accepted back into that range, we were looking at this in the premium Discord and on the live stream on Friday. As we were playing around here, right, really needed to hold on top of this value area low to see the POC. We came down to that last level of support, held it, back into the value area low, push up into the POC, retest the value area low for that move back up to the high. So we're just essentially, guys, back range bound inside this volume profile. But as we talked about, we were looking at some of the higher time frame levels. I want to talk about like the biggest levels you should be looking at on your chart if you're looking for trades, right? Number one, to the upside, you guys know we have the daily MPOC sitting up here at about $72,657. This is really the big level that we've been interested in for quite some time. It's been up here ever since back here in February, and we front ran it. We're front running it right now, obviously. But this is still the biggest level, guys. In my opinion, if we could get, and I'll talk about this local volume profile, as you guys know, within the volume profile, value area highs, resistance, and although we have this bigger level of interest at 72,650, obviously, if we see those confirmations at the value area high, we go ahead and take that trade. This one played out very nicely for almost like a 10% move to the downside, but This is still like the next biggest level, right? And we talked about this last week. Why is this such a big level? Because if we're able to crack above this level, guys, two things. We have massive, massive potential for a short squeeze to the upside. And, oh my God, my voice. From a liquidity perspective, as we've talked about, if we start breaking above that level, this is an area where I will be interested in short positions. And again, I'll cover the local levels as well in a minute. But if we're able to sustainably get above this level, guys, not only could we start a bigger short squeeze to the upside, and we'll talk about some of the higher time frame targets, but things could get very exciting here if we start to see these shorts absolutely squeeze to the upside. A lot of people very bearish down here, right? Obviously, higher time frame context. We are in a bear market. So, you have to keep that in mind, right? We are in a bear market. But, with that being said, right, like we're down here, tons of shorts. If we crack this high, I do personally think that we could eventually see that bigger short squeeze to the upside. I'm going to hide these local MPOCs for just a second because when we pull up our visible range volume profile, bada boom, right? Pretty large volume gap leading up to about, I would call it about $84,000, right? And more significantly, up to about $87,000. Just like we looked at this, as we've covered many a times, we looked at this, lose these lows, very likely large capitulation to the downside through that low volume gap. These low volume gaps do not offer a lot of support or resistance for price when we enter into them, obviously giving us that beautiful call for the move to the downside, made tons and tons of money on that short position with the premium Discord, but on the way back up, it's very similar, right? I'll pull up the daily just to get a little bit more of an in-depth view here. Of course, right, not a lot of resistance above you. We do have those two daily MPOCs, but at the end of the day, guys, this gap is pretty large. So again, it does bring you up. I would say those two daily MPOCs that we have, I'll pull it up to the daily naked point of control here. I would say personally, the larger gap, in my opinion, does sit between the daily MPOC at 72.6 all the way up to, at the end of the day, the big confluent level is sitting up closer towards $87,000. So this is something I'm watching in a big way, right? We break into this gap, could very likely not only cause the shorts to squeeze to the upside, assisting that move up, but also pushing into that low volume gap environment could facilitate, obviously fast move down could also equal a fast move back up. And very, very easily visualized here on the volume profile. But of course, when we pull up those daily naked points of controls, you have the shelf of volume here at about 81.5, and then these two daily naked points of controls that we looked at Friday, not yesterday, Friday between about 78.6 and $81,000. This could be a little bit of a sticking point, but at the end of the day, right, like the larger gap, zoom out a bit here, right? Obviously, we're in this very high volume area, high volume node, right? Large, low volume gap. So if you take anything away from this stream, guys, mark out this gap because this is where things could potentially get exciting. If we're going to get the big move to the upside, break into the gap, I do think that could cause the bigger short squeeze to the upside with the honorable mention of local resistance around, call it $78,000 to $81,000 would be to come back down or come back up and retest these lows here. That could give us a little bit of a sticking point, but at the end of the day, really the bigger volume does fill into the confluence here on these daily MPOCs around $87,000, which of course is also going to be the retest of this value area low, right? So even just from a volume profile perspective, we have this larger, take off the local range, pull up our larger range, right? Lose this large volume profile, right? Whether you're looking at this as a larger profile or you're just looking at this local profile. Once we impulse out of this volume profile, price is very likely to seek out previous value, which is obviously sitting down here. We have filled that range in full. If we're able to crack back out of here, break into the low volume gap, even if you're not paying attention to the visible range volume profile or the gap, right? You would just say to yourself, hey, price could be very likely to revisit the previous area of value, which comes in here on our local value area low. And if you pull this overall on this larger area of price action, right, our larger value area low comes down there as well. Just like when you lose this, you're very likely to go here. Very similarly, if we impulse out of here with the short squeeze and the low volume gap situation, very likely to get gravitated back towards this previous area of value. So we are on the cusp of potentially a large short squeeze, guys. Now, of course, we have to get up here, right? And like I said, we will be looking for short positions up here in the premium Discord. If we don't get the setups, we won't take it. Very likely we'll shoot right through that gap. But it does come with the caveat of we have to get accepted into the gap, right? Like back here, we came down, we tested the gap, we tested the gap, we tested the gap, but eventually we did end up breaking in there and getting the drop down. So it could be very similar, right? You can come down there. If you get the confirmations for the longs, which we did down here at about $85,000, we did take the long. It'll be the same thing here, right? If we get the setups, right, we will look for the shorts back down. But if we get accepted in here, warning, warning, we could see that short squeeze come into play. So that's what I'm looking at from a higher time frame. Now, this is obviously the more bullish case. If we are able to get inside that gap, get that fast move to the upside. And one of the things that we looked at last week, guys, was going to be that weekly green dot looking to print with our 10-hour money flow looking to cross over into the green. If this is something I'm going to be watching to anticipate if when we come up here to these this area for potential shorts, and again, we will go over the local levels as well, but if we get up here into that daily naked point of control, if we do take a short here, I'm going to be very careful because there is a scenario, right, where we could get the short, right? If this 10-hour money flow starts crossing into the red, money flow indicates the overall trend. If this money flow crosses into the green, because we have this weekly green dot, it gives us a market cipher B 1/16th bullish setup. And in any case, right, money flow crosses into the green on the 10-hour. This would, to me, indicate that we could likely see a continuation of that uptrend, right? So if we do get that short, I will be careful with it in the case that we come down to retest the value area high or the POC of the range for a higher low and a higher high, right? That money flow crosses green. I'm thinking, hey, any pullbacks from here, although we can make money on that short, right? Any pullback from here, the context would be, hey, potential continuation of the uptrend, right? Which could indicate that we're going to get a higher low. And the big levels I would look at would be the value area high of the range at about $70,300. Or if we have to go a little bit deeper, the point of control of the range at about $68,000. So that's kind of how I'm going to be handling this to kind of give you my thought process on like how I'm going to be viewing that trade. It's not just, oh my God, we hit resistance, short it to zero, no stop loss, anything like that. It could very well be a case where if we do catch that short, right, it could just be a local short for a higher low and a higher high. Now, I won't know what this money flow looks like until we get up there, but when we look at this, it is trending to the upside, right? So, and then with that weekly green dot, it gives us that market cipher B 1/16 setup, which could indicate a larger trend to the upside, which could facilitate and agree with the idea of seeing those short squeeze to much higher prices, right? Now, of course, I'm not just going to look for, even here, right? We got the drop into the range here on the 28th of January, and then we wound up filling it on the 4th of February, right? So it's not like it's just going to be, pop up in here, 1 minute God candle. I do think we could see a God candle there, but, it wouldn't happen in 1 minute, right? It just gives, not a lot of resistance, right? So it's like a kind of a path of least resistance, right? Could just be something like this, right? Maybe you bing bong around a little bit and then you kind of just work your way up through that range, right? Or gap, I should say. So that's kind of my thought process, right? When we look at the bigger levels of resistance, I am still most interested in that daily MPOC. And then we'll see if we get up there, right? I don't know if you're just going to kind of crack up through there and just continue to squeeze up, or if we're going to be able to get that short set up. And then, once we get into that short, if we do, right, we will kind of view it. We'll keep an eye on that 10-hour money flow. If that crosses green, it could indicate the continuation of the upside. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for a potential bigger move up. Now, of course, right, to the downside, the biggest, just like this daily MPOC is the biggest area of interest for short for me, right? Of course, the bigger area of interest for longs, right, on a higher time frame perspective. I'm not saying we guaranteed have to come down here. We're in a bear market, right? It's definitely, the biggest area when I pull off the volume profile here. We look at the higher time frame, naked points of controls, right? It's like, this is still our biggest level of support, right? We've covered this umpteen times. $58,000 to $55,000. If we get down there, I'm very interested in potential swing long positions. No guarantees we have to get down there, but if we did, I would be interested in longs, right? For a potential bigger move up. It's kind of hard, right? We'll have to see if that 10-hour money flow crossover happens. If we get the crossover into the green on the 10-hour, that'd be a good indication to me that we can eventually see that squeeze come first. But as of right now, locally, I will say, guys, it's a little bit difficult, right? On a lower time frame, we take a look at some of these lower time frame money flows. 2-hour money flow, completely chopped, green, red, green, red, green, red. Nothing really super significant there. The one thing I will say when we start to move up into some of the medium time frames, overall, 4-hour money flow has been in the red for quite some time. We've already gotten some fake outs into the green, only to come back into the red. But over time, this has been trending to the upside, right? So maybe if we get that next 4-hour money flow crossover, right, maybe it's time to spend some time in the green here. Now, in bear market environments, guys, money flow does like to spend a lot more time in the red. But, we've been in, how long has this been? We've been in the red here for, 41 days. That's a significant amount of time for the 4-hour money flow to stay in the red. And again, right, like a lot of people getting really bearish down here. Now, I'm not saying if we get the pop to the upside, we can't continue down. But, again, when you have all those shorts, all that liquidity, start cracking the highs, like I just crack here, guys. Short squeeze potentially incoming. That's kind of like the big thing to look at. So, biggest areas of interest for the larger, higher time frame trades. And I will get into the local right after this. 72,600 for the daily MPOC and the retest of the gap. And then if we get the bigger move down, this is the biggest area of interest. Very, very, very simple. Right? Kind of just like fake out of the high of the range or fake out of the low of the range. So there you go. There's the high time frame perspective. I'll go into the lower time frames in a minute, but I'm going to jump into chat here really quick. Shout out to Indian Martini. Said, I just tuned in. All I heard was short it to zero, no stop loss. Shout out to Indian Martini. Welcome in, brother. Long time no see. He was also in the premium live stream. We've knocked on the 70K door 3 times now. Very likely we break through here. Let's see. Shout out to Brillo. Yeah. More times you knock on the door, sometimes the more likely it is to open. Yeah, I guess we're kind of just knocking on both doors. But yeah, again, like here's the thing, right? It's not like we have money flow in the green here, right? If we have money flow in the 4-hour in the green about to cross into the red, it'd be a little easier for me to say like, hey, this looks really good for a start of a bigger continuation down. We don't have that right now, right? Take a look at some of the higher time frames, like even the 5-hour, right? Money flow starting to cross into the green could also indicate, right? If this was opposite, if I invert this, right? I'll change the color of the money flow. Come on. Right? If we had a green wave about to cross into the red, this would look a lot worse to me, right? This would, to me, say, hey, probably a higher chance of a bigger continuation to the downside. Statistically, right, looking at the higher time frame volume profile, obviously, this kind of lines up with everything I just said. You got to get out of this profile, right? If we can't get out of this profile, we wind up rejecting here. And again, I'll get into that in a second. If we wind up getting back down below that POC, technically filling this volume profile could be high probability. But when we look at it from a money flow perspective, it's not like we have a massive green wave about to cross into the red, indicating the start of a massive downtrend. We have the opposite, right? We have red money flow looking across into the green. Right? And it's been in the red for quite some time. It's not like even the 5-hour is not really super, it's kind of wonky, but it's not like you're getting fake outs into the green constantly. We've been in here very similar to the 4-hour, right? 41 days in the red. We spent a good amount of time here in the red. We got the crossover up here. Shorts absolutely paid us out. Now we've been in the red for quite some time as we consolidate. If we get the crossover into the green, it is, in my opinion, right, sustain that green money flow. Continuation of that trend could be likely, right? Take it up to the 8-hour. 8-hour money flow has been in a nice red wave. Take it up to the 10-hour. We already covered this. Trending to the upside. 12-hour money flow. Massive wave. We got the big capitulation down. Starting to attempt to continue to the upside here. 16-hour also attempting to come up here. So it's not like we have like all these like horrible money flow crossovers just starting, right? In my opinion, right, it's like we've already kind of spent a lot of time in the red. So, on top of the liquidity, on top of the low volume gap, this is why I kind of give the warning sign of like, if we crack up in here and we start squeezing the shorts, right, money flow is technically trending up on a lot of these medium to higher hourly time frames. So we'll see what happens, right? Take a look at the daily. Daily's not trending up just yet. We do still have money flow, technically still in the red here on the daily 2-day, still in the red, not necessarily trending up. So, it's really when you come on down to these like lower time frames that things are just like super choppy. But these higher hourlies kind of smooth out that money flow and let you know, like even if you do have to get little corrections, stuff like that, these higher time frame money flow crossovers, more specifically the 10-hour, is going to be a big thing I'm looking at. So there you go. Now, jumping into the lower time frames, obviously, we do have the, where's it at? Here we go, right? Of course, just viewing this from a day trading perspective, we're just simply in the volume profile, guys, right? Like, and when I look at this local range, right, I'm more prone to be looking at the lower time frame money flow, which of course is very, very choppy. So right now, local key levels of resistance. Number one, you got the value area high sitting at about 70,125. This, of course, just like any other situation, deviate above the highs. Yes, this is resistance. If we get the confirmations, you could get accepted back into the range. It's a simple volume profile. So if we do squeeze back up here, local resistance, I would say, is sitting at about $70,125, value area high. If we get the deviation above, maybe we can get a little cool off. But similar to the situation I was talking about with the short squeeze, if we do end up getting the push up here, I would be interested because of the higher time frame money flow in, again, we get push up here, maybe we get a little cool off. There are some very, very big key levels that I'm looking at for potential higher lows and higher highs. Now, obviously, within the profile, we pull our full Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. Golden pocket is confluent with the value area low, so if you're looking for those local levels, I don't know if we're going to get the push all the way back down here, but if we did, golden pocket, 786, value area low. One thing I want to say, we don't really have a ton of horizontal levels in here, right? But if we're looking for a continuation to the uptrend, right? Let's say we come up here, maybe we take out the high again, maybe we don't, I don't know. Lose the PLC, go down to the value area low. This is your biggest key level. Just like the 786 here, or I guess really technically here, was the key level to hold. Just like this 786 was the key level to hold. The full Fibonacci retracement of this move to the upside does sit here in confluence at the value area low. So if we get down to the lows, I would be interested in potential bounces. In that case, maybe we just remain range bound, which would be absolutely brutal. But this sits between, let's take this off the chart, right? This is between about 64,474 and 65,724, right? This would be an area to look for a potential higher low for a potential higher high, right? Continuing the uptrend. Now, I don't know if you're going to get that full pullback. If you don't, right, well, I'm simply going to look at our local Fibonacci retracements. And we do actually have some decent confluence here if we pull up our larger range. This pulled from the impulse to the high. This is the kind of next zone before the value area low that I'm interested in. Sits right here between about 67,326 to 66,277. You have your golden pocket 786 retracement. You have the POC of your overall range, right? Your macro range. This is an absolutely key level to remain above, right? Because once we lose that, if we lose this, we're back below the POC. Again, maybe you remain range bound, but once you lose that POC, that value area low becomes another high probability target, right? If we're above the POC, this is your most important level of support. It's confluent with the Fibonacci retracements, so I'm interested in it, right? So, again, sitting between 66,277 and 67,326, mark it off on your chart. Underneath that, I will just be viewing this as a general volume profile with confluence at the value area low. And I'll actually pull both of these fibs, right? So if I were to mark this out somewhat simply, this would be more interesting to me because, again, if you hold this, you're holding the PLC of your range. If you lose that, at that point, the 786 becomes your line in the sand. This is key. If we lose this 786, this is your doorway. Lose this, this becomes like almost, I don't want to say certain, right? Nothing's certain in trading, but very high probability. Just like the 786 was here, just like the 786 was here. If we lost this, it would have almost been a teleportation down to the value area low. Same thing here. We were able to hold those levels nicely, right, for higher lows and potential higher highs. That new level is going to be $64,495. I would prefer to hold above the point of control, right, for a long. And the reason for that is because if you long below the POC, right, you have the, even here, right, like it's going to be resistance. It gets a little bit more difficult, right? So I prefer this, but this is really going to be your line in the sand, just like here and just like here. And we could take this daily MPOC off the chart because we held it. Your next daily naked point of control does sit confluent with that 786, almost exactly like it was last week. So there you go. Line in the sand. Lose this, I'm feeling pretty good about a move down to the value area low. If not, we could be open to higher lows and higher highs. Those are the local key levels I'll be watching. And I know this looks kind of confusing. There's two profiles that we're looking at. The only reason I bring up this larger profile is just because that POC is a very important level of support, right, specifically. But you could always look at this from your local perspective, right? Longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, right? And then your local resistance is up here. I might be interested in a short here if we get another push up. But we'll see, right? Of course, the bigger level sits at that daily MPOC. Higher time frame, this is the most interesting level. And then, of course, for swing longs, down here between 58 and 55K. Locally, we're just within this local range. The uncertainty is going to keep Bitcoin in a range until one side gives up. Yeah, shout out to Triplex. Yeah, we'll see. The one thing that the Bulls have going for them is if, this is really going to be like twisting the wrist of the shorts, right? They're really, that low volume gap could really squeeze out those shorts. But we'll see. I'm just trading it level to level, guys. Again, right, we talked about this last week. I didn't catch the long down here. I don't care, right? Why? Because as we talked about on this move up, I'll just catch the short. Ended up catching the short, made money on the way down. Good money on the way down. I am not currently long. Maybe I'll catch the short. If not, I'll look for another long. So I'm just simply trading this as a range. We'll see if we can push up to that value area high. Again, it's kind of hard. Low time frames, super chopped up, right? Like 30-minute money flow trying to come up here, but we don't have that confluent with an 8-hour green dot. So, I'm just kind of sitting here waiting for those key levels to get tapped. Patience is key, right? Patience oftentimes pays. So we shall see. But those are the biggest key levels that I'm looking at. There's your range. Value area high, $70,125. POC, $68,000. Value area low, $65,500. And then that line in the sand of the 786. $64,466. Back up on the daily MPOC. Again, very similar. I already just took off that daily MPOC, but very similar to down here, right? Technically, the 786 is your line in the sand, but we had that daily naked point of control right here that was backing it up. That's why support and resistance is oftentimes a zone. If we lost that zone down here, right, would have likely been very bad, right? Just like that, this would be your zone. So I guess technically, the line in the sand structurally is the 786, but technically that real line in the sand is the daily MPOC, 63,827. Can't reclaim that. Value area low towards 59.8 is going to be very likely. Shout out to Christian Mello, said it's all season next week. If we get the short squeeze, very likely you'll see the altcoins probably follow suit on that. Captain Kirk in the chat. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well, Cap. Hey, fam, just stopping by to say hi. Shout out to Cap. Are you working tonight, Cap? Any interesting stories from work? We know you have a very interesting job. Shout out to Abel, says BTC hits 250K in December. I'm crazy. Shout out to Abel. Whacking all the shorts. Whack them, baby. Take them out. Make them sleep with the fishes. May I ask how you could get Market Cipher B? You can go to marketciphertrading.com. If you want to get a discount, you could use our link in the description down below. It is a paid indicator, obviously. Thank God I didn't sell my alts. Yeah, well, depending on where you bought in. But yeah, I'll take a look at Ethereum. Let's see here. Did I forget to run my timer? I did. What time is it right now? Bear with me here, guys. I'm on a tight schedule here. All right. Shout out to Spaghetti Regretti, said, Frankie, can you show me what VWAP you use? I oftentimes use the anchored VWAP, so it really depends on the situation. I have a tutorial on the channel to show you how to use the anchored VWAPs, but you basically just pull this. I pull this from like swing highs and swing lows, but it depends on the situation. Like right here, the significant VWAPs I would be looking at least on Ethereum, would be like from this swing low, maybe this swing low, right? You can pull it from the swing highs. Again, if you want to know exactly how I use these, you can check out the tutorial video in the beginner series filled with jam-packed with other tutorials to show you how we do the TA. But yeah, it depends on the situation, right? but it's usually an anchored VWAP. Bibbity bobbity. Shout out to Jake from Reddit. Okay, so for Ethereum, let me just take a look here real quick on the alt template. Bada boom. All right, let's take a look here. So let's take that off. So locally, right, same thing as Bitcoin, trading within the local range. We can get rid of some of these levels. There is the this is the local resistance we were looking at. Take this off the chart. This is obviously old news. Old news. Same thing, low to high, 786 daily. I believe that's a daily MPOC. Oh, no, maybe it was a daily level. Yeah. 786 daily holds, just like on Bitcoin, except it was a daily MPOC. But you're just still within your range, right? So, like, locally, this is still the range to look at for Ethereum. Value area high, 2065. POC, 1948. Value area low, 1911, right? So, obviously, still remains valid. We could actually extend this to current price action. Doesn't move the range at all because you're still within your balance, right? If we had impulsed out, I would not extend that profile, but because we're still in balance, I'm going to extend that. PLC moved very slightly. 1948 at the POC, value area low 1911, and then your value area high, $2,065. And let me just check this fib real quick. So, yeah, you're currently rejecting the 786. So, we'll see. And then, of course, right, very similar to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin gets the squeeze, starts seeing a massive push up, potentially Ethereum likely to follow there. Biggest level to the upside if we get the break out of this range. Golden Pocket 786 daily, sitting between 2188 and 2344. And then let me pull up the visible range here for Ethereum real quick. It's going to look a little different than Bitcoin because the price action was different, but it will very likely look very similar. Come on, volume. Come on, volume. There we go. So, yeah, as you can see, it is a bit different than Bitcoin because you do have this consolidation here giving you a high volume node at about 25, 23. And when I first pulled up the chart, we had this range pulled up because, again, right, when we look at this, the next local area of value sits up here, right? So if we're going to look for, say, cracking the highs, you can theorize that you start squeezing shorts. Pretty big low volume gap. Your next highest volume node is on the POC of this range, sitting at about 25, 29. So again, you have the daily, you have the local fibs, but from a volume perspective, I mean, you even have some volume in there as well. But the way I would probably personally view this, other than the Fibonacci retracement, is just a volume profile perspective, right? We crack these highs, pretty big fall off in volume. I'll mark off that gap. I'll just go from high volume node to shelf. Right, start of the gap, break above, again, really the highs. You could probably pull that up to this shelf right here. Crack the highs, break into the low volume gap, potential facilitation of a fast pop to the upside, just like you get the fast drop through the gap, you get the fast rise through the gap. Where is price likely to stick next? Well, if we look at this as local balance, impulse out of this range through the low volume gap, price is very likely to seek out fair value. Where's the next area of fair value? It sits between about 24.48 and 26.73, right, with not a lot of resistance up in here. So just like Bitcoin, if we see that squeeze, this would be a large area to look at. Maybe we come up here and play with the range. We'll have to see what happens. Once we get out of this range, again, this is where the volume profile differs a little bit, where Bitcoin has more of like a clean gap between these highs and this range low. Ethereum has this consolidation here offering a little bit more of a stopping point, right? So breakthrough here, I would definitely be careful around 2450 and 2670 as we do have consolidation there and a previous area of value. But once you break out of that range, guess what? Continuation of a low volume gap into the value area low of the range, right? Or this, I say this as if everybody knows this, but there's your value area low, right? So this would be the gap I'd look at. This would be the next area of consolidation or value area that I would watch, right? And I guess, right, if we looked at this, let me look at this side by side for a second. pull up the VPVR on this as well. If I had to assume, I'm just going to see like this value area low might be very close to where those daily MPOCs are on Bitcoin. So there's the drop. Daily MPOC sit at around $80,000. Or no, right here, about 70. Where are those daily MPOCs? Yeah, 78 to 80K. So that's like right here. Yeah, it's like a retest of the range low. So it might be up towards the more towards the high here into this high volume node. So I would say biggest areas to look at, right, to potentially trigger the short squeeze. Of course, we can get SFPs of this high for another drop down, but if we get sustainably broken back into this range, daily 23.48, value area low 24.56. And then, of course, you could look to the POC at 25.36, and then the value area high 26.68. Not a lot of resistance. Fast move up, fast move down, fast move down, fast move down, could be fast move up. I'll keep this gap here. We'll see if we get the break. If we get the rejection, right, of course, I'll just be looking back down to the same old levels that we've been looking at, which, of course, would start on our local range. Whoops. Just hide this for simplicity. Right? If we do end up getting a fake out of the high, right? When we know we have a lot of liquidity above, obviously this does act as a magnet. There's an opportunity for an SFP. I would need a clean SFP here to anticipate the drop back down, but if we do get that, acceptance back into the range, back to the POC, back to the value area low, where we now have this daily tapped. So I'll take that off. That's tapped, no daily there, right? So we could take that off the range. So locally, this is your range for Ethereum. You can see the prices right here. If we get the bigger squeeze up, I'll simply be viewing that as a gap into the next area of value, with the exception of the daily at 23.41. So there's the sauce on Ethereum. From a money flow perspective, of course, very similar to Bitcoin. 2-hour lower time frames, very chopped up. But when we look at the higher time frames, 10-hour attempting to trend up with our weekly green dot printing. This is the best bet, right? This is the argument, at least on the charts, in my opinion, for the bulls. Weekly green dot prints, 10-hour money flow crosses green. That could indicate, same thing as Bitcoin, maybe you get a little pullback here, but if that 10-hour money flow is crossing green, could potentially look for higher lows and higher highs. And then eventually you get accepted into the gap for the bigger push up. That's what I'd be looking at on Ethereum. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, brother? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Shout out Mr. Market. Mr. Market, send it back to the upside, brother. Come on, do it for us. You are the market maker, right? Shout out to Teresa Young, says, nothing has changed, 53 to 58K, range on the way. Shout out to Teresa. I hope not, man. And, of course, like I said, this does remind me a lot of this range, right? Just super boring. I hated this price action. I will look back at this forever and remember this as my most hated area of price action. So boring, right? Of course, we did catch the short from the top all the way down. Plenty of trades to be had in this range, but just from like a content perspective, like super boring range. Let's see. What is an SFP? A swing failure pattern. Shout out to Ahmed. Shout out to Big Huggy, said, Bing Bong, got a dang day job to support my addiction and stack during the bear market, so I'm just getting in. Gonna have to scrub back. Much love, Mafia, Mods, and Frankie. Shout out to Big Huggies. Welcome in, welcome in. Would I be hunting for bull divs right now? Shout out to OCB. Depends on what you mean for like as in like right now. I would have to wait to come down to the next key levels that we just talked about earlier in the stream to look for some kind of confirmation to take along. If you're talking about like up here right now in these candles, not really. Again, we're just like not really at a key level. So I would have to wait to come down to those next levels that we talked about. Maybe bringing back the calves can spice things up. Shout out to Tiny Lens. Should we show some calf? Should we show some leg meat on the chat on the live stream? I'm not trying to get kicked off YouTube here. I mean, it's it's G-rated skin, but maybe we'll have to spank some calves in a minute. I'm never. I said this last week. My barber told me the other day. He was like, he has like a little thing that he was like blowing the hair off of me. And he's like, dang, bro. He like barely speaks English. He goes, dang, bro. Legs very big. I was like, I hear it all the time, brother. I hear it all the time. All my muscle fiber goes into my legs. I don't know what it is. Shout out to the Godfather said, okay, just close my short because money flow is going to be green. Shout out to Godfather. Let's go, baby. I'll stay at the most bearish case is like 28 to 32K artificially. Of course, entries still 38K in my opinion. Shout out to Teresa. Yeah, so we do have some key levels down there. I wasn't really going to talk about this today just because still pretty far away. But from like a high time frame perspective, guys, looking at our 2021 value area, of course, right? Of course, we're in our local profile here, right? Definitely big support, right? Which is why, it wouldn't be super surprising to me. Everyone gets bearish. Where are they getting bearish, right? Where are we bearish at 108K? Where does everyone else get bearish? Oftentimes, super late at the lows. Now, it doesn't mean you can't come up and then back down, but it just wouldn't, again, people get very bearish. Shorts at risk of getting massively squeezed. Pushing into massive support, right? If we lose this, the next big area of support are all those levels down here between 58 and 55K, down to the value area high of the range. Once we get down here, we're going to be dealing with a situation where, I'll just be looking at this as a simple volume profile. Get accepted below the high, POC at 47K is likely. If we end up losing that, could be the fast. That's where it's not until we lose that 47K POC that I'll be anticipating that bigger drop down towards 30K, but definitely a valid thought, right? If we lose that point of control, in my opinion. But, just mentioning the $30,000 zone, it is a big key level. If we do have to talk about that larger drop to the downside, it's a very valid place to be looking, in my opinion, especially based off the volume. So there you go. We'll see. We'll see if that has to come into play. Shout out to Cryptic Mac says, keep up the consistency, realist in the space. Shout out to Cryptic Mac. Yeah, you're not going to get any like anytime we're talking about potentially seeing a big move to the upside, it's always going to be backed up by like legit information, right? Not just like, it's bullish, guys. Oh my God, we're going up. You're never going to get any random hopium or random fear in the market, right? When we talk about it's like the same thing, right? It's always going to be consistent. Not that every call is going to play out, but when we talk about losing these lows and seeing a big drop to the downside, it's not me trying to like spread fear and scare everybody, right? It's just the fact that logically you have this massive volume gap underneath you and not a lot of support down below. If you break back in, very high probability of a big move to the downside. Oh, man. Guys, the mouse just died. But very high probability of a big move through that gap. And what happens, right? Price moves through that gap. It's going to be the same thing for the move to the upside. You guys got to, excuse me for 2 seconds. I got to go grab a battery for this dang mouse. This is the third battery I've gone through in the past week. So give me 2 seconds. I'll run some beats here while I run down and grab some batteries. Oh, man.
It's the motherfucking intro. I'm just trying to get that money like 1-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block, try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot, I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big Rex, blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback, eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane.
All right.
Ghetto kids.
We're back. Guys, I went to grab the batteries, and looks like Mrs. Candles has been stacking some cash in the battery drawer. I don't know if this is my money or I don't know how she got this, but hopefully she's not stealing money from me. Oh, my God. But anyway, all right, let me load this battery back up. Oh, my God. All right, there we go. We're live. We're live. F it, we'll do it live. Why don't you get a rechargeable mouse? I don't know. I don't really have an excuse for it other than the fact that, I don't know, laziness to click a button on Amazon. I don't really know. But here we go. This is going to be this week's batteries, guys. 1 battery a day keeps the bad P&L away. Anyway, so yeah, you're never going to get any BS on this channel, guys. You're going to get raw information, right? So when we talk about that move to the upside, it's not just, oh my God, guys, bullish, 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 right? It's just like, well, hey, we got a massive volume gap here, right? If we pop up here, we know we have the shorts. They could squeeze to the upside, right? All logical information. Let's see. Show us the mouse. Shame. Shame the mouse. Shame the mouse, guys. It's actually a nice mouse. I like this mouse. It's really the batteries. Pop an Energizer in here. Mrs. Candles cheaped out and got the Amazon batteries. These are useless, guys. These are literally, I did not know. Tony D told me there's actually a big difference in batteries that you buy. But you pop a lithium ion in there. It lasts for like a year. I'm going to burn these batteries. That's probably not a good idea. But shame the mouse. Stone the mouse in the chat, guys. Rock emojis in the chat for the mouse. Shame it. Shame. Shame. Maybe I'll get new batteries and we'll just break this mouse for fun. I don't know. Buy a Pro Lightspeed 2. Charges in 3 minutes. Is that true? That's kind of wild. Turn off the RGB in the mouse. I don't even know if I could do that. It will last longer? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know how to do that, though. Got me rolling laughing. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto Street. Duracell for the win. Shout out to Tony D. Tony D, what battery should I get if I want this to last forever? But anyway, guys, let's continue on here. So we took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at Bitcoin. We'll see. I'll go low time frame here on Bitcoin, just still kind of wiggling around here. So yeah, took a look at Ethereum. Take a quick look at Solana. It's all the same stuff, guys. It's just like we just need something to happen here, right? And of course, right, if Bitcoin gets a short squeeze, a lot of this stuff will follow. Price action's very similar. Lower volume profile. Here's your upper volume profile. Pull up the visible range. Where's the gap? There she blows, right? So, you know, you could say Solana's got a little bit of a peak in volume here around $100. But when you're talking about significant value areas or volume, high volume node, pretty low volume gap, right? You're not going to want to ignore $100 to $102, but at the end of the day, right, fast moves down could equal fast moves up, right? And again, like what would that level be? Essentially cracking and holding these highs, right, which do sit. All right, what happened here? We got the SFP, move back down, right? But if you get a sustainable rip above this, I would say, I guess you can move it to this high, $92, right? And then the next significant, local level would be about $100, $102 to the high volume node. Now I could pull an anchored VWAP here real quick. Let's pull it from the high. There you go, right? Let's pull a fib. Let's pull it. Let's see this local one. Tap. So, yeah, I mean, you break this high, I would say next. Got the anchored VWAP, got the 786. I would call it around 98 to 96.71. And kind of an easier way to look at this would probably be pulling this kind of micro profile in here. All right, pretty much incorporates this volume gap. Yeah, I don't want to mark this out as like super, super, super significant just because it's such a tiny area. Let me just see something here. Trying to snipe these volume profiles. Yeah, we could put this. You do want to keep in mind that you do have the low volume gap, but technically, right, you got nice support on the POC, nice support on the POC. So yeah, I would say, you know, crack these highs, get accepted into this profile. $97,000, $97.50 at the POC, and then once you break above that, bigger push up towards about $110, pull back up that visible range volume profile. Yeah, I mean, I would take these levels, just view this as a volume profile, but just keep it like in a simple perspective. Here's your previous significant profile right here. Low volume gap, right? Again, you're going to very likely get hung up on some of this local stuff. Maybe you push into the POC, get a little turbulence, but at the end of the day, massive value, break out of here, get accepted here, break above here, get accepted into this massive profile. So very similar, right? Just like Bitcoin retesting the bottom of that previous range. It's kind of the start of your high volume node, not a lot of volume in between. So break these highs, right? Could see if we get the big push up, these would be the levels I would look at as important, right? 92.34 at the value area low, 97.59 at the POC, 111.35 at the value area high. Once you break out of there, right, well, you're starting to push into these bigger levels. And if I pull up some of these MPOCs, let me see something here real quick. Oh, you don't have. Whoops. Take this off. Take that off. Yeah, I was looking for a lot of confluence up here like we have on Bitcoin, because if you look at it on Bitcoin, you have tons of confluence up here, right? Other than these like local daily MPOCs, like that's where all your confluence is, up towards the retest of that range. Not as clear here on Solana, but one thing I can tell you is crack these highs, get accepted in here. Could look for that fill up to about $111 if we see the short squeeze on Bitcoin, and then break above there, right? Next big level would be about $122. Other than that, right, local levels remain exactly the same, just within your profile. And for what it's worth, you do have, right, Solana holding the 786, just like on Bitcoin, just like on Ethereum. Your POC of this range could become confluent with that point of control, right? So if we're able to come back down and retest that POC, hold it as support, just like on Bitcoin, that POC could be very important for a potential higher low. 10-hour money flow, just like on Ethereum and Bitcoin, is also trending up, right? This is all the same. Almost any coin you look at, other than like small outliers, very similar, right? Massive red waves starting to come back up. Weekly green dot is printing, is confirmed on Solana. A little bit of a difference there. But that 10-hour money flow would still be something I would look at for a larger continuation to the upside. Other than that, local levels, you could pull this range pretty much on anything, right? You could pull up, I don't know, Chainlink, right? Same thing. What would those levels on Chainlink be? Well, they'd just be right here within the volume profile. But there you go. I'll give this to you real quick. Value area low, 80.25. POC, potentially confluent with that anchored VWAP. Pull it from the low here as well. Yeah, you got these two lining up right there as well. So value area low, 80.25. POC, 84.89. Value area high, 88.50. So we'll see what happens here. Range bound until it's not. Now, I wish I could say, oh my God, beautiful, clean money flow wave with a money flow crossover on the 4-hour. 4-hour still choppy. 2-hour still very choppy, right? This like range has just been up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Which is nice because you could trade that range. But when it comes to like bigger breakouts, right? People always tell me, Frankie, I get the volume profiles. I love them. I'm long in the lows. I'm short in the highs. I'm long in the lows. How do I know when this thing's eventually going to break out? Well, oftentimes that money flow can be an indication. But this is high time frame, right? So it's like, could you potentially come back down first and then come out? Maybe, right? This is going to take a little bit of time to cross over. But that would be the big thing to look at, right? If we start seeing that money flow cross over into the green, right, well, that could indicate that maybe this range is good and we can start seeing a push back up. All right, money flow indicates the overall trend. This money flow crosses green, higher lows. Any pullbacks would be lackluster, higher lows, higher highs. So that's what I'd look at on Solana. Shout out to George, said hit that like button. Frankie's here imparting free knowledge on daily bias. It's the least we could do. Shout out to George. Smash that like button, guys. Let's get 250,000 likes on today's live stream, and I'll give away this much money. I'm just kidding. 250K likes. I don't know. If we ever get 250,000 likes, that's like absurd on YouTube. Evening, Frankie. Shout out to 84. Welcome in. Energizer E2 Lithium. They last forever. Shout out to Tony D. I'm going to order them. And then maybe we'll get just a rechargeable mouse. We'll put a lithium ion in this mouse, and then we'll just shame this mouse again, and we'll smash it live on stream. Should we smash the mouse live on stream? It's a good mouse. It's Razer Basilic? I don't even know how to say that. Hyperspeed. V3. It's the V3, guys. It's the V3. We'll give away the used mouse, the game-worn mouse. Oh, man. I just smashed the like button 250,000 times. Shout out to Carlos. Let's go, baby. Bad mouse. Bad. Let's see. In case you guys want to know how shot I am selling a circular saw on Marketplace. Dude hits me up, send him my address, and I got distracted by the stream for 20 minutes while he sat in my lot. Shout out to Tony D. I knew this Facebook Marketplace thing was a scam. The Pro is rechargeable. Well, why didn't I get the Pro? I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll have to get it. We'll have to get the Pro. We'll have to upgrade. What's up, big dog? Shout out to Sean Beams. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. Give the mouse to me, Frankie. It will help me with my P&L. Yes, you get like the good luck can rub off on you. This is actually this is a customized Razer mouse, guys. Customized by the crypto gods for increased P&L. But anyway, that's what we're looking at here on Solana, guys. Other than that, right, everything else just kind of in the same exact situation. I'm not going to run through every single altcoin today, as I haven't in quite a while, just because everything's in a very similar situation. You can literally take the TA that I just did and apply it to any of your altcoins. XRP. There's your range, right? Shout out to the Godfather. Said, Frank, you're already a pro. I'm a pro mouse handler. Breeding mouses in my mice in my free time. Wireless mouse is a struggle. Best just buy a corded mouse. Yeah, I hate the wires. I really do hate the wires. Wire. Yeah. Pro can be corded or cordless. Interesting. Shout out to Dave Digital. Said, Frankie, did you like my CandleMafia anthem I put in Discord? Funny AF. Shout out to Dave Digital. I did not see it, bro. I'll have to listen to it. I'm sure it's great. I'm actually interested. Is it unhinged, Dave? Is it unhinged? I feel like it might be. Did you collab with Chris Mella? I never know how to say his name. Chris Mella? I don't know how to say it. Already a pro and a bro. Shout out to Godfather. I'm just a bro. Just a crypto bro. Bring the fresh hair, Frankie. I'll show the toupee. You want to see the toupee? I think it's looking like a toupee today. Hang on. I don't know what it's going to look like when I take this off. There's the toupee. Yo, it looks like a toupee. Look at that. Hashtag toupee 2026. Look at that. Toupee. Comes right off the head. I'm not going to do it on stream because it's gross. But there you go. There's the toupee. We're running no gel. No gel in the hair today. Just natural. Is it sticking up? I can't even see on the black background. There we go. We'll keep it off. No, it's good. Not unhinged. Shout out to Mr. Market. Let's go. Let's go. I'll have to take a listen to it. Shout out to Dave Digital. Dave, can you send it to me? I'll take a listen. Where shout out to your comrade. Hey Frankie. So what plan where we put alerts? Listen, for me, for the bigger trades, right? We went over the key levels already, right? But just really briefly, like the big alerts, I would say daily MPOC at 72.6. This is likely where I'll be looking for shorts, or if we don't get the short, right, could be where you start to see the bigger short squeeze. So that's definitely going to be a big level to look at. To the downside, obviously, value area low going to be a big level. Really depends on what you're looking for, right? Lower time frames. These are the higher time frame levels. Daily MPOC 72.6. Support, I would say, really the value area low down to about 55K. Big zone of support. Two major areas to have alerts set at. I don't know why my alerts keep getting. I can't see if they're set, but they don't look like they are. I don't know why they keep disappearing. But down here, up here, big alerts. Locally, just within the volume profile. Value area high, potential opportunities to get a scam back to the downside like we did here on the short. And then, deviations below the value. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream. You'll see all the confluence that I'm looking at down here. But yeah, as always, right? Value area high, value area low. Other than the range trades from up here or down here, I'm really interested in the daily MPOC or the bigger high time frame supports down towards this wick low. And just to kind of simplify that, guys, important like larger, higher time frame levels. It's basically just like a range fake out. Range high, range low. Now, if I were only interested in the high time frame levels, right, in which case I wouldn't have taken the short here, which I did. But it's like, hey, if we get up here, we could fake out the massive range high, right? If we get down here, we could fake out the massive range low, right? I've drawn this on the chart 100 times just because, nothing's really changed here. Other than like kind of the context with the money flow coming up. Can we see the short squeeze? But other than that, right, it's like fake out the high, fake out the low. Other than that, if you want to trade locally, I'm looking in this local range. Very simple. And if you scrub back to the beginning of the stream, I show like the actual specific levels. I was stuck in jury duty today and couldn't trade the long BTC move up. My FOMO was kicking in after seeing this pump. Shout out to Jeffrey. The famous FOMO. The FFOMO. I put it in family chat, Frankie. I'll have to check it out. Shout out to Dave Digital. Please dump. We'll see what happens. And listen, if I don't know, if I had a personal preference, right? Again, the charts do not care about your preferences. The chart identifies as the chart. I guess I would probably prefer a drop down, right? Because I am holding the shorts. But other than that, bing bong and sideways, guys. Looking for the bigger breakup or the bigger breakdown. Waiting for the key levels for the next trades. Taking a look at the liquidation heat map. Shout out to who said that? Saba. Yeah. So taking a look at the liquidation heat map here. We do have some liquidity sitting above these highs, right? So again, what does that tell me locally? Well, just like any significant highs, right? We come up, that liquidity sits. There's the timer creeping up on 6 o'clock here. This creeps up to about, call it 71K. Right? So you got some liquidity above these highs. Call it from like here. So you do have the liquidity sitting up here, which always gives an opportunity. Where's it at? There we go. Right, if we could squeeze up there, potential pop through those liquidations. Of course, if that gives us the sign or the signal to take the short, I may be interested in taking that short as a range trade, right, from the value area high to the low. Of course, being very careful around those key levels of support that we brought up earlier today locally, right? But that could offer something, right? Not a set. I'm not telling you to take that, right? You have to understand what to look for. But again, two things can happen here on that liquidity, right? Either you get the opportunity to look for maybe a swing failure pattern or a liquidity sweep, or it just squeezes those shorts up to the bigger level. Again, my bigger interest is on that daily MPOC up towards about 72.6, right, to sweep out these highs. But just like over here, right, I still wanted to see that $72,600 daily MPOC, which I'll just pull up here so you can see it right up here. But what happens, right? We push into the local value area high with confirmations. We're able to capitalize on that move and make some money on the way down. We're not always, can't guarantee that if we come up here, you're not going to get another correction. But just to kind of put, am I super, oh my God, this is the biggest level? Not really. Locally, it could offer a setup, right? But for me personally, I'd rather see, this is probably a bigger area of interest for me, but within the volume profile, the value area high, especially with liquidity, is always going to be a small area of interest for a lower time frame day trader scalp. So hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to Jedi Square, said they, them, up, down, I think is how the chart identifies. Still have the gap around 81K. Shout out to N4M. I'm not sure if you're talking about the same gap we were talking about earlier in the stream, but there is still that massive gap above. Absolutely. If SFW candles, Scout's Honor? If SFW, Frankie, it's SFW? SFP? SFW? Did I say SFW? Shout out to Dave Digital. So yeah, recapping like a G. Shout out to Cryptic Mac. Yeah, of course, brother, of course. So we'll see. Locally, we'll see if we can push into that value area high. Other than that, guys, we got the local levels underneath us. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. It is 5:58. I got to run. I'm literally going to be late, just like everything else in my life. But that's what we got. I'll be back here with you guys tomorrow, probably a little earlier tomorrow. We had the premium live stream today, so I did run the stream a little bit later. But scrub back to the beginning of the stream, get all the key levels, get that money flow analysis, and have an idea of what I'll be waiting for and looking for next here for the Bitcoin price action. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today. Shout out to Frankie Candles to pay. I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. wrong.